You wake up at the same time. You follow a schedule designed by someone else. You sit in a room with rows of desks, all facing forward. A bell rings, and you move. Another bell rings, and you stop. You are handed information, tested on your compliance in absorbing it, and sorted based on your performance. You are rewarded for having the right answer, but rarely for asking the right question. For years, you live inside this system. It feels normal. It feels inevitable. It feels like it has always been this way. But what if this entire environment, the structure of your day, the way you're taught, the way you're measured, was not created to set you free, but to condition you? What if the goal was not to unlock your potential, but to mold you into a specific, predictable shape? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's history. The modern school system, as we know it, is not a natural evolution of learning. It was a conscious design. And its chief architects were not teachers or philosophers. They were the new kings of the industrial age, tycoons and industrialists who needed a specific kind of person to run their empires. The most powerful among them was John D. Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil and the richest American of all time. His influence didn't stop at oil. It extended into the very foundation of our society, into the classrooms meant to shape future generations. His philosophy was captured in a single, chilling quote, often attributed to him. "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." This is the story of how that philosophy was engineered into the backbone of modern education. This is an investigation into the classroom factory. Who built it, why they built it, and whether the world it was built for still exists. The bell is ringing. It's time to learn how you ended up in that desk. Before we can understand the classroom, we must first understand the factory. And to understand the factory, we must understand the mind that perfected it. Not an educator, not a philosopher, but an industrialist. His name was John Davison Rockefeller. In the smoky, volatile world of 19th century America, Rockefeller saw something others didn't. Chaos was the enemy. The oil business was a frantic, unpredictable free-for-all, a wild boom and bust cycle of gushers and bankruptcies. And to a mind like his, this was intolerable inefficiency. So he didn't just compete. He engineered order from chaos. He didn't just build a company. He built a machine. Through a combination of visionary strategy and ruthless tactics, secret deals with railroads, predatory pricing, and relentless pressure, his Standard Oil Trust didn't just dominate the market, it became the market. At its peak, it controlled over 90% of oil refining in the United States. He didn't just sell a product, he sold predictability. His world was one of precision, vertical integration, and total control. Every pipe, every barrel, every shipment was part of a grand, seamless design. He was the architect of a new kind of power, not just wealth, but systemic power. The power to set prices, to dictate terms, to shape an entire industry in his own image. But this magnificent, terrifying machine had a problem. It required fuel, and its fuel was a specific kind of human being, predictable, punctual, and obedient. The independent, free-thinking farmer of the past was useless to him. His factories and refineries needed operators. They needed human cogs for his industrial machine. The existing education system, a patchwork of one-room schoolhouses focused on basic literacy and classical learning, was producing the wrong kind of person. It was producing individuals, and the age of the individual, in the eyes of the new industrial titans, was over. The system had successfully tamed the wildness of oil, of steel, of transportation. Now, it turned to the most complex material of all, the human mind itself. The greatest engineering project was about to begin. With his empire built and his fortune secured, John D. Rockefeller faced his next great engineering challenge. But this one wasn't about pipelines or refineries. It was about people. The social upheaval of the industrial age was a problem of instability, and instability was bad for business. The solution was not found in a corporate boardroom, but in the classroom. In 1902, Rockefeller founded the General Education Board. This was not mere charity. It was philanthropy with a purpose, social engineering on a monumental scale. The official mission was benign: to promote education within the United States without distinction of race, lovemaking, or creed. But the underlying philosophy, revealed in its operations and the writings of its architects, was far more specific. It was to create a system that would produce the human capital required by the new industrial order. The board poured millions, hundreds of millions in today's dollars, into reshaping American public education. They didn't just fund schools, they designed a blueprint. The model they championed and propagated across the nation was a direct reflection of the factory floor. It was engineered for efficiency, measurement, and compliance. Let's break down the precise engineering of this system. The bell schedule, the first and most powerful signal. The school bell is the direct descendant of the factory whistle. It doesn't respect curiosity or deep thought. It demands movement. It conditions young minds to respond to external cues, not internal drive. Time becomes the master. The assembly line. Students are grouped by manufacture date, their age, and moved along a conveyor belt of grades. The goal is standardized output. Individual pacing or unique interests are glitches in the system to be corrected. The curriculum is fragmented into isolated subjects, much like the specialized repetitive tasks on a production line. You don't build a car in one room, and you don't learn in an integrated way. You do your specific job. Quality control. This is the role of standardized testing. These tests are not designed to measure creativity, critical thinking, or character. They are designed to measure compliance, the ability to absorb prescribed information and regurgitate it on command. They are the final inspection, sorting the products into hierarchies: management track, skilled labor track, unskilled labor track. Architectural control. The classrooms themselves were designed for observation and order. Rows of desks bolted to the floor, all facing the single authority figure, the teacher-manager. This layout ensures focus is on the source of instruction, not on collaboration with peers. It is a physical diagram of the top-down power structure. The system was a stunning success by its own metrics. It produced generations of literate, numerate, and disciplined workers who built the 20th century. It created a workforce that was punctual, followed instructions, and understood their place in a hierarchy. But this engineering had a catastrophic side effect. In its ruthless pursuit of efficiency, it systematically designed out the very things that make us human: curiosity, creativity, and the courage to challenge authority. It wasn't designed to produce innovators or artists. It was designed to produce a population that would submit to a proficient mode of living. It was the perfect, silent engineering of consent. The goal was not to light a fire in the mind, but to build a better, more reliable cog. The machine worked. For decades, it hummed along, producing the clerks, the factory supervisors, the assembly line workers, and the middle managers that fueled the economic engine of the 20th century. It was a closed loop. The factory model school fed the actual factories, which funded the system that supported the schools. It felt permanent, inevitable, but a flaw in the original design began to appear. The architects had built their system for a world of stability, repetition, and hierarchy. They could not have foreseen the internet. They could not have imagined artificial intelligence, the gig economy, or a globalized marketplace of ideas. The world that the factory school was built to serve has vanished. The assembly lines are now automated. The routine, white-collar tasks, the data entry, the basic accounting, the predictable analysis are being handled by algorithms. The economy no longer rewards compliance above all else. It punishes it. The greatest premium now is on the very skills the system was designed to suppress: critical thinking. Not what to think, but how to think. The ability to question the source, to deconstruct an argument, to spot bias. Creativity and innovation. The capacity to imagine what doesn't yet exist and to connect disparate ideas in new ways. Collaboration. Not sitting in silent rows, but working in dynamic teams across networks and cultures. Adaptability. The resilience to continuously learn and unlearn. To pivot when the world changes overnight. This is the great unraveling. The tension we feel in modern education, the obsession with standardized tests, conflicting with the desperate plea for innovation in the mission statement, is the sound of a system at war with itself. It is a century-old engine screaming as it's forced to run on a new kind of fuel it was never built for. Students are told to be creative thinkers while being assessed on their ability to color inside the lines on a multiple-choice bubble sheet. They are pushed to collaborate while being ranked on a strict individual curve. They are born into a world of dynamic information, yet are often forced to learn from static, outdated textbooks. The anxiety, the disengagement, the feeling of irrelevance that so many students report. This is not a personal failing. It is a systems failure. It is the logical result of a profound mismatch between a 19th century institution and 21st century human needs. We are living through the reckoning. The question is no longer whether the system is efficient. The question is, what is the purpose of education now? Is it to create a manageable workforce for a world that no longer exists? Or is it to cultivate human potential for a world we have yet to build? The answer to that question will force us to choose between maintaining a monument to the past or having the courage to imagine something entirely new. The factory is obsolete. The question is, what will we build in its place? So here we stand amid the crumbling bricks of the old factory. The whistle that once called generations to order now echoes faintly, a relic from a forgotten age. The blueprint that gave us order now gives us constraint. The system that promised efficiency now breeds anxiety. We've examined the architect's design, the meticulous engineering of a nation of workers. We've felt the consequences of that design, the stifling of creativity, the prioritization of compliance over curiosity. And we are now living through its painful, necessary unraveling. This leaves us with the only question that matters, the one this entire history forces us to confront. What do we want? Do we want to continue polishing the gears of a machine designed for a world that has vanished? Do we want to keep producing human beings who are trained to sit in straight rows, wait for the bell, and faithfully reproduce answers to questions they did not ask? Or do we want something else? Do we want a nation of thinkers, of creators, of compassionate and critical citizens who can not only navigate a complex world, but also improve it? Do we want classrooms that ring with debate, not silence, that value questions more than answers, that teach children how to learn, not just what to learn? Do we want an education that sees a child not as a product to be standardized, but as a potential to be unfolded? A unique and vibrant mind, capable of imagining a future we can't yet see? The ghost of Rockefeller's choice still haunts us. A nation of workers or a nation of thinkers? But the choice is no longer his. It never really was. The choice is now ours. It will demand courage to dismantle the factory. It will require vision to build what comes next. But the blueprint for the future won't be drawn by billionaires and industrialists. It will be drawn by parents, by teachers, by students who demand more. It begins by refusing to be a cog. It begins by asking why. So we end by turning the question to you. What do you want? Share your choice in the comments. And if you want to help design what comes next, like this video, subscribe, and let's keep building. Look, I've given you the history. I've shown you the blueprint. But I can't answer the most important question for you. Only you can. So I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to ask you to think. When you sat in those classrooms, did you ever feel like you were being trained instead of taught? Did you ever feel your curiosity fading, replaced by the need for the right answer? Did you ever suppress a question because you knew it wouldn't be on the test? Have you ever wondered why you were really there? That feeling wasn't an accident. It was by design. Now, ask yourself this. Do you want to be a product of that system? Or do you want to be something more? This isn't the end of the conversation. It's the beginning. If you're ready to question the world you were handed, then you're already breaking the mold. Subscribe if you believe learning should build minds, not just workers. Let's discover what's possible together.